morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always, told out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to take a look at a new secret rare that's coming around in Paradise Dragona. We've got a Milotic, and we've got an artwork rare of it, and we need to have a look at Surfer as well. We've got a bunch of stuff going on, so let's start off with Milotic. The Morlul has been shown off as well, but 60 HP, single energy 10. If you are a fan of Tamakazu Kamiya, which I know a lot of people are, you're going to love this. Otherwise, meh. But Shiinotic, oh, that's a card we can get a little bit excited about. Now, it's actually got a really nice ability. It says that if this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, then you may leave your opponent's active Pokemon asleep. Which is cool. And some of you, and I did because people tried to make this work, some of you might remember the Mareep from Lost Thunder. And then you might start feeling a little bit shortchanged. Because you look at this and you're like, well, hang on a second. Mareep did it back in the day as a basic. I've got to evolve up into a stage 1 now to get the same ability. And the answer is yes. Yes, you do. You have to evolve up into a stage 1 in order to get the same ability. And you know what? I'm kind of alright with this. And the reason is we have something that we never had before. We have Jinx. Now, Jinx is a Pokemon that we've had since 151. And we've got the very enticing attack, Heart-Stopping Kiss. Water, double colorless. If your opponent's active Pokemon is asleep, it is knocked out. For what it's worth, Jinx is, I believe, the reason why we cannot have this ability on a basic Pokemon. I think it's potentially too good on a basic. Forcing you to have to evolve up into a stage 1 to use this ability, I really do think is kind of the point here. Because honestly, there is a chance here that otherwise you could get the turn 1 KO with Jinx. Now, obviously, in terms of energy acceleration with Jinx, you've got Baxcalibur, but then you're talking about a stage 2 in addition to the stage 1, in addition to the basic, which is obviously a little bit of a pain. And then you've got, if you want to go back to 151, we've got Energy Sticker, which I think we can all agree is not the easiest one to use, to put it nicely. You need to basically flip a coin, and if heads, you attach an energy from your discard pile. Cool idea. Did have some decent success at North American Internationals. And of course, let's not forget that we're going to have a brief period of time where Brilliant Stars will still be legal. So you can use yourself double turbo energy. And because you're getting a straight one-hit KO here, you don't need to worry about the reduced damage or any of that malarkey, because you're getting a straight one-hit KO here. But honestly, in terms of using Jinx and getting Jinx to work and getting that Heart-Stopping Kiss to actually fire, I think this is the best we've had. I think this is the best opportunity we've actually had at this stage to make this work. We've got ways to get abilities to use sleep, but they've just not been as good. This is nice and simple. You get Shiinotic into the active, get Jinx into the active, and as long as you've got free energy on a basic, which is really not that difficult, instant, automatic, one-hit KO. And you know what? Yeah. This could actually work now. So assuming we can get a stage 1 evolved up, which isn't that difficult, and assuming we can get the energy onto Jinx, which is possible, it's only a water and 2 colorless, then what we've got here is just an issue of switching. Switching in and out of the active so that you can actually get this rolling. And there's a new card we should probably have a little bit of a chat about here. It's one we've not had a chance to talk about yet. It's Surfer. There's a Surfer card. And it's a switch. Switch your active Pokemon, one of your bench Pokemon. And then you draw until you've got 5 cards in your hand. So think of it like Switch plus Beaverell. You switch, then you draw until you've got 5 cards in your hand. Which I'm just going to go out on a limb and say, as far as supporter cards go, that's not terrible. And again, we don't want to use our supporter card for the turn as a switch. We really don't want to do that. But if you're looking, for instance, like Kieran from Twilight Masquerade, that's either a switch or it's doing extra 30 damage this turn to EXs and Vs. And don't get me wrong, most of the time when we're playing Kieran, we're playing it for the extra damage. But we've all played those games with this and other supporter cards in the past where you can switch with it and you don't really want to. You want to use the other effect, but you really need a switch and you've got this and that helps you out. We've all lost games because we were unable to switch our Pokemon out the active. And honestly, let's not forget, Snorlax is still hanging around. Now, I don't know how good Snorlax is going to be in the future. Nobody really does. But Snorlax is a deck that does have a habit of hanging around. And there's always going to be other decks that stop you retreating. So playing a card like Surfer just gives you more outs to switching when your opponent's stopping you retreating. I'm saying this could be a pretty good supporter. Switching and then drawing until you got 5 cards in your hand, not too bad. And obviously here, when you've got Jinx and, Water Jinx, Surfer card, I like the compatibility between those two. I think this is good. I do think being able to switch around here is actually a pretty big advantage, and I'm honestly kind of a fan. Since we're playing grass anyway, you know what we could be doing here? We could be using Decidueye. Now, massive caveat before we get rolling here, it's a stage 2. Now, it's a stage 2 that's got a really nice ability, but it's still a stage 2, and we know at this stage that stage 2s are a pain, and that we're not often playing them for their abilities. Yeah, we're playing Pidgeot, but Pidgeot lets you search for any card once during your turn. Fair to say that that is a little bit different. So look, Decidueye's got an ability that says once during your turn, you may use this ability. If this Pokemon is on the bench, switch it with your active Pokemon, or if this Pokemon is in the active, switch it with one of your bench. So we do have some switch in there, but I do fear that it's a stage 2 and it's going to end up being, I think it's safe to say, less than inspiring. So basically we got Shiinotic and Jinx and a bunch of switching options. And you know what? Yeah, that sounds alright by me. There are obviously other things to do it. You can just use this for sleep. Use it to put your opponent to sleep and try and buy yourself a turn or something along those lines. I don't think it's the best use for it. I do think this is very much a Jinx card, but I am telling you that there's other things we can do here, and it's quite cool in that regard. As for the attack, 2 grass energy, 60 damage, flip a coin until you flip tails. This attack does 30 damage for each heads. And this is another example of, it could be infinite damage. You can KO literally anything with this, but a lot of the time you're going to flip like 1 or 0 heads. It's going to be 2 energy 60 or 2 energy 90, and it's not going to end up being good enough. Sorry about that. But I did promise you an illustration rare. Here it is, and I love this. This is a beautiful card. Matazo here, knocking it out the park, really bringing Shiinotic to life. And hey, we need some more secret rares. We need some more illustration rares. This is a nice example of it. Not going to be my chase for the set. I've already told you that we've got the Okacheke, Latios, and Latias. They are absolutely going to be my chase cards for the set. But a lot of people like Shiinotic. This artwork's lovely. I do feel like this is going to end up being pretty cool in the long run. I think in terms of a score, I'm going to give this between 3 and 4 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies. That would be barbaric. I really do like the ability, but it's hard to not feel shortchanged, given that it's not been that long. Okay, fine, a couple of generations, but still, we did have this on a basic. And when it was on a basic Mareep, it did see some play. People tried to make it work, because the idea of a basic that could put your opponent to sleep, you put it into play, and after every KO, or if you can get it free retreating of a tool or something, just switching into it, being able to constantly put your opponent to sleep and have them flip to wake up to try and do anything, that's not too bad. On a stage 1, I don't think it's going to see random play like Mareep did. I think this is very much a question of, if you are playing Jinx, and you really desperately need to get sleep rolling because you're playing Jinx, then this does actually become like a legit card. But I do worry that random users like Mareep are going to be few and far between. That's what I think, but I want to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Good us! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.